السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كيف حالكم؟ إن شاء الله طيبين. كمل لعبة أغاثا كريستي موردرين أند أورينت إكسبرس. أوكي، جينا هنا. المرة الأخيرة يقول لك مس لوكس دراجد. طبعا صحت البنت اللي كانت نايمة، ففي أحد يعني خدرها وأعطاها، حط لها شيء في الكوب. أنت يقول لك choose two most likely suspect to have. اختار الاثنين أكثر اثنين محتمل سووا هذا الشيء. اختار هذه شكلها مريض، هذه واحدة منهم صح.
That is not a good answer.
ممكن هذه.
I must admit I'm not right this time.
أوه، لأن هذا هو الكوندكتر.
The tea that Mademoiselle loved.
عنده تواصل معه.
Fräulein Schmidt or Pierre Michel could have drugged your tea. They are really the only two people on this train who could have done it. But why would either one do it?
Mr. Poirot, I'm feeling much better. I'd like to bring you up to date to why I ended up on this train.
If you are able, I would very much like you to...
هذا كل شوي تعطيك شوي من قصتها.
Well then, after the Daisy
ويغمى عليها.
was officially closed, I put out a standing request to the police departments in the Boston area for anything on Michael Clark. But he didn't turn up on their radar. I even set up an anonymous tip line for news about Clark. That's how I met Braid, a sketchy contact on the dark web, but they found nothing I could use.
طبعا كلارك، هذا مايكل كلارك هو نفسه راشد، واسمه الحقيقي كاسيتي، وانقتل. مع انه شكله، شوف شكله وهو بشخصية كلارك، ما أدرك هو متنكر، هو لابس قناع. يعني هذا أنا صادمتني إنه هو نفسه.
4 long years passed without anything new. Every day I looked at the evidence board I put up in my apartment bedroom. Then this morning, a police report landed on my desk that changed everything. I paid a visit to the police property room and took home a box full of clues. There was his name. Michael Clark.
صار لها 4 سنين يتحقق، ويوميا تشوف الصور هنا.
A bill from the power company with, I'm sure, plenty of excuses why my rates keep going up.
فاتورة كهرباء.
Travel. For the discriminating traveler. Also for the overworked detective who never seems to have time for vacation. Well, I can dream, can't I? Years of no new leads in the Armstrong case, and then this. Michael Clark, the sarcastic reporter, my prime suspect in the kidnapping, murdered 4 years ago?
كيف؟ The body of an investigative. لحظة. The body of an investigative reporter Michael Clark was found buried in his Boston backyard. Clark was killed by a single shot to chest. State of decomposition suggests an estimated date of death. غريبة والله. شافت يعني اسم نفس اسم الشخص اللي هي مشتبهة فيه أكثر واحد. يعني اكتشف جثته وانه هو ميت 2018، مع ان الحادثة صارت 2019. فيمكن هذا الشخص الحقيقي اللي مات، وهذاك الكلارك هو ماخذ منتحل، يعني منتحل شخصيته.
This is Michael Clark? He doesn't look anything like the journalist I interviewed. Michael...
من هنا عرفت انه منتحل شخصيته.
This is Michael Clark? He does... Michael, you have earned a place on my evidence board.
Dark investigation. هذه الأشياء اللي أخذوها من الكابينة.
The lab team found this keychain in the cabin, but they wouldn't have bothered to examine the keys once the DA shut down the investigation. The keys were just tossed in the evidence box along with everything else. It's too unusual not to demand a closer look.
في طريقة لفتحها يعني. حاول تركبها. اوكي. اها. اتوقع فتحتها. وش هذه؟ فلاش؟ يو اس بي. واو، والله مخبيها بطريقة.
And see what nasty little secret it contains. A US.
طيب في شيء ثاني. كنت تضغط الأرقام بالترتيب. 1 2 8 11. ما صار شيء. لا أتوقع عليها. والله بدأت تصعب الألغاز. أوه رقمها 3 5 6 9. أوكي. أوه.
A key knife. They sell them on the internet for self-protection.
3 5 6 9. خلنا نجرب هالرقم. 3 5 6 9. هذا هو. وش كبسولة؟
What do we find? A capsule and a smell. Bitter almond.
سيانايد.
Cyanide.
سم يعني هذا. باقي هذا. يمكن يمكن يعني هذا بعدين هذا على حسب الفتحات. بعدين هذا على حسب الخروم اللي فيه.
What do they call this? Brass knuckles? Knuckle dusters? Illegal in Massachusetts. Possession alone can lead to serious jail time.
أتوقع خلصنا من هذا. في شيء هنا. وش هذا نفس هذاك اللغز. أكمل الشمس. ايه هذا الشيء
What do we have here? A flashlight. They can also conceal knives, but in this case we have
دوك بيكس.
picks.
اوكي خلصنا منه. يمكن راح استفيد منهم. اوكي
So clever. All that evidence and yet no DNA found. The only fingerprints found on the bottle were Suzanne's.
حصلوا بس بصمات لشخصية سوزان اللي انتحرت.
Suzanne's hair, so conveniently left in the cabin for us to find. It was planted. I knew she was innocent.
اتوقع انهم يعني مفبركين لها.
Fluffy. Daisy's plush toy.
خلينا نشوف وش عندنا هنا. The USB driver. لك يبغى لك تحطها في الكمبيوتر تشوف وش اللي فيها. كنكتة كلوز. اوكي في شيء بعد. غير اشوف اليو اس بي. خلينا نبدي باليو اس بي بعدين الاخير هذا.
I know I have to stop printing. It's bad for the planet.
يا يو اس بي كي.
Shaved off the metro beard. But I'd recognize that smug bastard anywhere. The man I interviewed 4 years ago posing as Michael Clark. This goes on the board.
هذا اسمه الحقيقي. كاسيتي. لانت.
Shaved off the metro beard. But the man I interviewed 4 years ago.
وش اسمه الأول؟ لانترس ما أدري. لان فرانكو كاسيتي.
Absolutely nothing on this Cassetti. His driver's license is almost surely a fake.
في صور.
Maybe they needed to show the ransom to someone to check if the serial numbers were still on record. I'll print them and on the wall they go.
طبعت للسيريال نمبر حق الفلوس. خلني أشوف إذا في شيء بعد أجيبه من
I know I have to stop printing.
خلني أشوف القط اللي عندها. ما تسوي له شيء. والله حلو القط اللي عندها. برتقالي أورنج.
Maybe to check if the serial numbers were still on record. I've read it probably 10 times already.
رواية موبي ديك.
But I can't get enough of it. Don't know why.
بس كيف تشيك على
Because it helps me sleep.
دي ريال.
shaved off the Metro beard. But I'd recognize that smug bastard anywhere. The man I interviewed 4 years ago posing as Michael Clark.
طيب خلينا نشوف هذا الشيء. كان لازم نخلص هذا أول. بوستن شوتينج فيكتيم. مايكل كلارك.
I knew it. The faces don't match at all. They are clearly two different men. I should run facial recognition on my computer.
ليش ما يرتبط معه؟ اوكي بوستن شوتينج. Evidence of kidnapping. أنا أشوف الكمبيوتر. طلعت حاجة ثالثة. facial.
Okay, the real Michael Clark has been dead for years. Let's see if the photo of the fake Michael Clark matches someone in the database of known criminals. I've tried this several times in the past few years, but came up empty. Maybe whoever he really is has finally made a mistake. That could be him, but he looks pretty different.
Forehead.
Come on, Joanna. That's a rookie mistake.
What had changed between the hair?
Yes, he seems different at first glance, but still
صح يشبهها.
person.
The glasses. له اللحية.
Good.
الإيرز. الماوث.
I don't need Mr. Poirot to tell me I'm wrong.
أو النوز.
He's changed his appearance a lot. Probably had some plastic surgery on his nose, but there is no doubt it's the same person. Let's see why he was arrested.
ساموير من هنا عرفته. تم اعتقاله 23 نوفمبر. اوكي ايربورت. في أرمينيا اعتقلوه. تولين انشنت بايك شيء قديم. ذا ثري اوكي. اندر اوكي باي ذا كورت مان.
Mr. Ratchet, you didn't just steal statuettes. What recent information does the database have on you?
سارق مجسمات أو تماثيل أثرية، يعني سارق آثار. تبحث عنه.
It's so frustrating. I have a name, but I can't find anything about him. But I know just who to call.
Robot Defense League, we are monitoring this call.
Hello, Braid. Long time.
Oh, Joanna. Hey, how may I assist you?
I need you to search the dark web.
Yeah, can you narrow that down a little? Because it's pretty big and pretty dark out here.
Could you find intel about a Samuel Ratchet?
Samuel Ratchet. Got it. Bad dude?
They don't come worse. Send me what you find by email.
All right, hang on. Okay. Yeah, okay. Nope. pen. Okay. Oh, this might be something. I gotta do a deeper dive, but you should find this interesting. Could be coincidence if I believed in them. Emailing details.
Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto.
We're here to save mankind. Oh, it's a cookbook.
شوف أرسلهم. يلا أرسلها.
Mr. Ratchet, you did. What recent information does the. The Orient Express. I'm gonna print these tickets and put them on the board.
يعني عرفت إن جاب عنه معلومات إنه هو بيسافر في القطار هذا. أنا نشوف اللي هنا. Will be in the next week. I need to find في شيء لازم أخلص اللوحة هذه. اوكي عشان كذي لازم تخلص الكمبيوتر.
This is Ratchet's ticket.
إدوارد فيكتور. جون أرمسترونغ.
These tickets were all booked by McQueen.
McQueen, huh?
The person traveling with Ratchet has the same last name as my district attorney during the Armstrong case?
First photo from
The DA resigned soon after the Armstrong case. It haunted him just as it has haunted me.
خلينا نشوف ايش بقى علينا. باقي 2. أجيب معلومات عن هيكتور. كلف.
He's the son of my former DA. He goes on the evidence board. Hector McQueen is the son of District Attorney McQueen. This guy works for Ratchet, and if that's a coincidence, I'll eat my badge.
طيب وش بقى؟
Goodbye, Michael Clark. Hello, Samuel Ratchet, the man who stole your identity and your life.
ترى ارتبط بهذا بعد. ما ادري ايش مين راضي تزيد هذا.
As Ratchet is alive, the dead man can only be Noah.
هو كيف هذا حبيبها، يمكن هذا اللي قتله. الريستورانت. وانت تقدر تسوي انسبكت.
This tattoo is the same on both pictures.
نفس التاتف على الفلوس.
I know I have to stop printing. It's bad for the planet. Here's what Hector McQueen looks like.
هيكون مو كاملة.
The Orient Express departs from Istanbul next week. Interesting. I'll put it on.
حسيت إنه في شيء ناقص.
The event? Some old train. But that face, that man.
لازم كان في أشياء ناقصة.
I know that face. That's John Armstrong's driver.
Next week, a certain Edward Masterman will be on the Orient Express. Hector McQueen will be on the Orient Express next week.
Ratchet will be traveling on the Orient Express in a week. Foscarelli will be on the Orient Express next week.
أخيرا.
Ratchet is taking the Orient Express next week. McQueen, the district attorney's son, is too.
Foscarelli, the Armstrong chauffeur, is too.
It can't be a coincidence. McQueen and Foscarelli must have decided to take revenge and will undoubtedly attack Ratchet on this train.
يعني هم بروح عشان
Orient
ينتقم.
Express to stop them. And above all, I must stop Ratchet. But I can't do it in Istanbul because there's no extradition treaty with the United States. Ratchet can never be judged in the US without an extradition treaty. I'll have to wait until he's in Paris to have him arrested.
يعني هذول الاثنين ماكوين والثاني أرمسترونج هدفهم ينتقموا من هذا راتشت. هذا سبب راحتهم في الخطاب.
Every compartment is taken for this special anniversary journey. Oh, it's impossible to find a ticket. What can I do?
Fraud, buy ticket from someone.
Let's find out who's traveling on the Orient Express. Time to call Braid. Braid! It's me again.
I haven't found anything useful yet.
I need one last favor. But it's a big one.
Uh-oh.
Can you find me the list of passengers of the Orient Express for that anniversary trip?
Hold on. Jeez, their IT is surprisingly good. Maybe because of the big event. I found the list, but they sealed my back door as I was starting to capture it.
Oh no.
Whoa, calm down. I got one name. Female. The name I got before they kicked me off the server was Stacy Johnson. Do you feel like a Stacy Johnson?
The question is, how is she going to feel about helping me?
That's one you'll have to figure out for yourself. I gotta go back to weaving my magic on the web.
I need to find out who Stacy Johnson is, then I need to convince her to let me ذاكرة بلا اسم. أبحث عنها في النت.
Hello, is this Stacy Johnson?
Who's asking?
أقولها journalist أو police detective.
My name is Joanna Locke. I'm a police detective.
And I'm just an actress. Now what did I do wrong?
Nothing. I need your help. I need to take your place in the Orient Express.
Is this a joke? No way.
Do you remember the Armstrong kidnapping?
Of course I do. That poor little girl.
I'm a police officer. I have a new lead that may help me find her killer.
Wait, didn't they prove it was the nanny?
I have found compelling new evidence. I've reopened my investigation.
You know, I
كان خياراتك تحدد النهاية.
I played a nanny a couple of years ago in a slasher. I was killed in the first episode, but it got me interested in helping kids.
Stacy, please, you say you help kids?
Well, I joined a couple of associations who are trying to help underprivileged kids. If this little girl's real killer is still out there somewhere, I'd do anything I could to help.
Getting me on that train will help more than you can imagine.
So, you want my ticket for the Orient Express? But I booked it months ago. I was so much looking forward to this trip.
I'll give you twice what you paid for the ticket.
You think I care about the money? You still don't get it, do you? I'm hanging up. Goodbye.
Wait. Stacy, I can tell you care about kids. Here's your chance to help put this beast in prison for the rest of his life. Think of the publicity for those causes you care about. Think about the kids.
The kids. Yeah. All right. We'll do it for Daisy and the kids who suffer. I'll take care of changing the tickets to your name and send it to you. Get him. Make him pay.
I will.
أتوقع هي تقتنع في النهاية مهما تكون خياراتك.
Stacy was as good as her word. I received the ticket. I called my chief to let him know I was taking my vacation time. I had coming. I flew to Istanbul. I was finally going to nail the monster responsible for Daisy Armstrong's death, Michael Clark's death, even his accomplice, and, I suspected, so many others as well. You know,
مجرم خطير الملعون. The Guinness Book of World Record lists December 17, 23.
and that's how I found myself on this train, on Ratchet's trail. The rest, you know. My identity is easily checked with the Berkshire Police.
Thank you for your detailed account, Mademoiselle Locke. In addition to giving us crucial details of the investigation, you have made it clear that there are many who might wish to see Ratchet dead.
Is Miss Luke innocent or suspect? أتوقع innocent.
I know you are innocent. Your forthright testimony and your movements, or lack of them, last night eliminate you from our list of suspects.
I agree, without a doubt. Another detective will be great help to the investigation.
Book.
Although my friend certainly does not need any help.
You are too kind.
Thank you for believing me. I'd like to help in any way I can.
Do not worry, Mademoiselle Locke. Already I see things more clearly. It's obvious whoever drugged you was trying to derail your investigation.
You mean the person who did this to me is Ratchet's killer?
Both Monsieur Michel and Fraulein Schmidt had the means and opportunity to drug you. While you get your strength back, I intend to interview them.
Excellent idea, my friend. All this excitement has whetted my appetite. I'm sure Mademoiselle Locke won't say no to a good, invigorating meal.
What? No, I want to hear what the conductor and Fräulein Schmidt have to say for themselves.
It is my duty to ensure the well-being of the passengers. If Dr. Constantine has no objection, I will escort you to the restaurant car.
On the contrary, some food will do her the greatest good.
Well, I'm still a little shaky. Mr. Poirot, will you please keep me informed about what you learn?
You may be certain of it.
يبغالي أقابل شخصيتين اللي هو شاك فيهم إنهم قدروها.
I have nothing to ask them at the moment. I should leave them alone.
خلنا نشوف الشخصيات سكمت. هذه الشخصية الثانية الشرطي. اللي هي هذه واحدة منهم.
Good evening, Fräulein Schmidt. May I
Fräulein.
you for a moment?
You asked so politely, mein Herr, but I do not think I have a choice.
I wanted to let you know that your roommate, Mademoiselle Locke, is awake.
Oh, yes, I'm glad to hear that. I was worried about her. Did she tell you what had happened to her?
ما Mr. Sayoud رقها. لا ما أتهمها بصراحة.
Unfortunately, she doesn't remember much, but we found a residue of a sleeping pill in her cup of tea. Since you two were alone together in your room when she drank it, who else but you could have drugged her?
Must I point out I do not make the tea on this train? You should question the conductor or the kitchen staff.
I know you have sleeping pills, Fräulein.
I do have some. Do you think I'm the only person on this train who finds it difficult to sleep? I believe the Countess Andrenier takes them. And I heard the Olsen woman thanking Mrs. Hubbard for a pill.
That was aspirin.
If you say so.
Mademoiselle Locke could have died. Whoever drugged her must not feel any empathy for their fellow human beings, given the dose that Mademoiselle Locke ingested. She was close to death.
Oh my God. What did I do? I didn't want to hurt her. Just have her sleep for a few hours while we had time.
We? Time for what? Time for what, Madame Schmidt?
You think I feel nothing? Nothing? That poor little girl.
Indeed, that poor little girl.
تقصد ديزي.
Somehow connected to the Armstrong case.
وش اللي يربطها بقضية أرمسترونغ؟ أرمسترونغ كوك. كومبانيون تسونيا ممكن.
No, not good. This is wrong, but I'm never far from the...
أرمسترونغ كوك.
That was easy. Fräulein Schmidt, I have a certain reputation for sniffing out...
I am not a murderer.
Forgive me, but I was going to say brilliant chefs. You were the Armstrong family's cook, were you not?
But Yes. I was the cook of that lovely, lovely family. I'm sorry, but I must ask you to give me some time to...
كانت تشتغل طباخة عند العائلة.
My darling, my poor darling child.
I will give you that time, Fräulein. You have given me much more in exchange. I must check in with my other suspects to make certain I have all the pieces of the puzzle in my possession.
نبغالنا نكلم الكوندكتر.
Can I get you something, Monsieur Poirot? Everyone is so tense.
An aperitif soon, Monsieur Fauchet, with pleasure, when the matter is resolved.
Jean, you've mixed everything up again. Oh, I can't find the coffee liqueur for tonight's dessert.
You're right, Mr. Book. This dessert is delicious. I'm glad we didn't wait for dinner.
I promise the entree will be superb as well.
Detective Locke, you are recovering well, I see.
Yes, I should be helping with the investigation. Do you know who drugged me?
It is early yet for conclusions. When I return, then we shall see.
Do not worry, Poirot. She is in good hands. Hotaru, Freya, and yours truly are looking after her.
Not now! Not now! I have a dinner to prepare. Would you interrupt Michelangelo or Da Vinci?
هذا الشخصية الثانية.
Good evening, Michel. Am I bothering you? You seem stressed.
With everything that's going on, I must admit, it's difficult to be relaxed.
Of course, I understand. Especially since we know that Detective Locke's tea was drugged before it was served to her.
Detective?
Come now, Michel. Surely you would have taken the opportunity to search her things and found her badge. Luckily, she woke up and was finally able to tell us her story.
Hotaru boiled the water, Jean made the tea. I just brought it. Sir, it could have been any of the staff.
Your defense is to accuse others?
خوش لا يكون هذا.
A network connection?
No, unfortunately. It's just an automatic reminder to pay my rent.
العلاقة بالسونيا المربية.
Michel had to be involved in the murder. The drugged tea, his post at the end of the hall, and now I know why I know more than one of those people on the screen.
Who is person left? Jane Fisher.
Think, Poirot. That is not a good answer. Fantastic.
In the middle, Sonia.
Think, Poirot.
لا سوزان.
Fantastic.
سوزان المربية. بيرسون. هاردمان ما أتذكر وجوههم.
Nice.
هاردمان.
Et voilà. You are the father of Suzanne
أبوها.
Daisy Armstrong's nanny. My condolences on the death of your wife.
What? But my wife...
Enough lies. Suzanne does not bear your name?
No. Suzanne's mother and I were divorced. Suzanne kept her mother's name.
My most sincere condolences, Monsieur Michel, on the deaths of Suzanne and your wife.
This job, I loved them, but I was never there for them. Then, a year after the divorce, Solange became ill. Suzanne took her to this special hospital in the US. Got that job as Daisy's nanny.
I understand your pain, and the reason that led you to drug Detective Locke.
We really can't hide anything from you, can we?
Many have been foolish enough to try and keep the truth from Hercule Poirot.
Yes, I admit, I drugged the tea. But it was only to keep her quiet, until I could... But she reacted so much to the sleeping pills.
She was lucky, as are you, that she didn't die. To be frank, there is one more thing that puzzled me, but I think I understand now.
What is Mr. Hardiman relationship with boyfriend? Of Mr. Michael.
You have a certain fondness for Monsieur Hardman, no?
Cyrus is a good friend, and I appreciate him a lot, but it's not that. Cyrus was my daughter's fiancé. I almost consider Cyrus as my own son.
Of course, much more is clear now. I have been patient long enough. It is time to go and see what all the commotion is next door. Monsieur Hardman, excellent. The gods who watch over detectives must have trapped you here.
Why didn't they watch over me? I'm a detective too. I was talking to Michelle about a leaky faucet, and I wanted to go out, but you showed up.
No need to invent some preposterous story.
But really,
Michelle has told me everything. You are the fiancé of Suzanne Moreau, his daughter.
Oh.
يعني هو اسمه اللي كان اسمه نوح.
This is not a big surprise to you.
No. Suzanne was the only woman I ever loved. And I failed her. We got into a spat. It was nothing, but I was too proud to apologize. We weren't speaking at all. Suzanne never really cared for that guy Noah. She would have forgiven me, if only.
لا غير ترى.
If only.
If only. A common refrain between lovers who quarrel. Obviously, Pierre Michel and Fräulein Schmidt both drugged Detective Locke's tea, causing the overdose. No wonder she had so much trouble waking up. Time to report my findings to her and book.
اروح اعلم هذاك بوك مستر بوك ومسز لوك.
So, my friend, tell me, you have something new?
Mademoiselle Locke, I know who drugged you. Fräulein Schmidt and our conductor Pierre Michel both admitted putting sleeping pills into your tea. This explains your overdose. They are relieved.
لأن الاثنين حطوا
Passenger?
المنوم.
On behalf of the company, I offer my apologies to you, Mademoiselle Locke. Michel will answer for this outrage.
Both of them? I was pretty sure about Fräulein Schmidt, but I admit that I did not suspect the conductor.
I have uncovered multiple connections with the Armstrong case. Pierre Michel is the father of Suzanne Moreau, little Daisy's nanny, and Monsieur Hardman was Suzanne's fiancé. As for Hildegard Schmidt, she was the cook of the Armstrong family. What a coincidence, don't you think?
But it's incredible! What are the odds that so many people linked to that tragic affair ended up on the same train?
About the same as you winning the lottery, my friend.
I wasn't the officer who interviewed Fräulein Schmidt back then, so she couldn't recognize me here on the train. How could they know who I was?
There were other passengers who might have. Or she may have seen you when you visited the Armstrong home. It is now clear to me that some of the clues to this elaborate plot were staged for my benefit.
What did they want me to believe? The murderer got on the train. Raspenowski killed Rashid and got me.
That was easy. Some clues and information collected so far could lead to a hypothesis. The murderer boarded the train in Vinkovsky, killed Ratchet, and then left the train immediately.
How did you come to that possibility?
Monsieur Hardman told me about a short man with a high-pitched voice who threatened Ratchet. Imagine for a moment that this man, wearing a wagon-lit conductor's jacket, killed him while Michel was on the platform at Vinkovsky. This murderer then hid the conductor's jacket in Detective Locke's room, then fled before the train left.
Why choose Detective Locke's room?
Why, indeed. Let me re-explain from the beginning.
Because the event of the false lead. طيب هذا أكيد في الأخير. هذا أكيد أول واحدة. قتل أو يمكن هذه قبل. يب.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot.
Mon Dieu! Oui! That must be it! Everything fits so well!
It fits too well, my friend. Other clues lead to a second hypothesis, much more plausible.
This is the most probable hypothesis. There are several murders who escaped. There are several murders who wanted. There are several murders all related. ثالثة.
That's the right answer. So, we have multiple murderers, all related to the Armstrong case. The murderer from Vinkovsky was a fabrication to turn suspicion away from those on the train. They expected the investigation to be led by some small-town official who could easily be misled.
Mr. Poirot?
Detective Locke, forgive me. you are an obvious exception. You tracked Ratchet with the tenacity of a bloodhound. Unfortunately for the killers, they not only had you to deal with, but now they had, and I say this with all modesty, the world's greatest detective, Hercule Poirot, dropped into the midst of their meticulous planning.
Multiple murderers? Multiple detectives? Poirot, please take pity on me. Who is linked to this case and who is not?
My poor friend, I have gone speeding out of the station without you. I will continue.
Who are the 9 people we know are connected to arms? Okay. هذه أتوقع هذا أكيد هذا هذه 1 2 3 4 هذه
I must admit I'm not right this time.
غلطت في واحد. ايه هذا القاتل اصلا. انا كيف نسيته؟ واكثر واحد.
Fräulein Schmidt, Pierre Michel, Monsieur Hardman and Monsieur McQueen are all linked to the Armstrong case. I also know that Sonia Armstrong's sister and godmother, Countess Andreni and Princess Dragomirov, are on this train. And finally, Detective Locke discovered that Mr. Foscarelli was the Armstrong chauffeur.
If we add Detective Locke and Ratchet, of the 12 passengers in that coach, 9 have a connection with the Armstrong case. What next, Poirot? Or should I say, who next?
It is time to summon everyone.
Everyone? Even Dr. Constantine? The train crew other than Michel?
Dr. Constantine, yes. I will need him. But we don't want the others as witnesses.
I will see that their duties keep them occupied elsewhere.
Excellent. I have always thought this moment in a case is much like Rodin unveiling the thinker before a captivated audience. A work of art. Have you not felt that way, Detective?
No, Mr. Poirot. I'm happy just to slap the cuffs on him.
Well, there is some artistry in that as well, I suppose.
Where would you like the unveiling, Poirot? The lounge?
Perfect.
Then I will gather all the passengers in the lounge.
كيف بجمعهم كلهم في اللونج. 9 من الموجودين في القطار لهم علاقة بقضية أرمسترونغ. Go to long start. واو كلهم.
Monsieur Bouc, are the train crew locked in their quarters?
Yes, they are.
Then the stage is set for the final act. Ladies and gentlemen, I have gathered you together to hear my reconstruction of the murder of Samuel Edward Ratchet, also known as Cassetti. There is not one, but 2 possible solutions of the crime. I shall put them both before you, and I shall ask Monsieur Bouc and Dr. Constantine here to judge which solution is the correct one.
2 solutions?
Mr. Poirot, I am hardly qualified.
Nevertheless, your assistance is required. Now, you all know the facts of the case. Ratchet was found stabbed to death this morning. He was last known to be alive at 12:37 a.m. last night, when he spoke to the wagon-lit conductor through the door. His watch was found to be badly dented, and it had stopped at 1:15. Dr. Constantine, who examined the body, puts the time of death as having occurred between midnight and 2 in the morning. At half an hour after midnight, as you all know, the train ran into a snowdrift. After that time, it was impossible for anyone to leave the train. So, here is my first theory. The enemy, as Ratchet expected, joined the train at Vinkovsky by the door left open by Captain Arbuthnot and Monsieur McQueen, who had just descended to the platform. He was equipped with a wagon-lit jacket, which he wore over his ordinary clothes, and a pass key which enabled him to gain access to Ratchet's compartment in spite of the doors being locked. Ratchet was under the influence of a sleeping draught. This man stabbed him with great ferocity, 12 wounds in all. He left the compartment through the communicating door to Madame Hubbard's compartment.
Yes, that's so. Scared me half out of my wits.
The murderer thrust the dagger he had used into Mrs. Hubbard's handbag in passing. Without knowing it, he lost a button of his uniform. Then he slipped out of the compartment and along the corridor. He put the uniform jacket into Detective Locke's suitcase to cast suspicion on her. And a few minutes later, dressed in his ordinary clothes, he left the train just before it started off again, using the same means for egress, the door near the dining car. That is the first hypothesis. But there's a second. For that, we must examine the motive for the crime. Why was Ratchet killed?
Revenge?
The motive is clear. Revenge, of course. Nothing was stolen, and we know that Ratchet had made many enemies. This was a premeditated crime, meticulously planned.
When was the crime planned? Just before departure? لا أتوقع سفرة.
Since the kidnapping and death of little Daisy Armstrong, which traumatized many people close to the family. Even when the police concluded that it was Suzanne Moreau, questions remained. Detective Locke continued her investigation, as did others. They became convinced the truth lay elsewhere. We now know who the real murderer of Daisy is.
Ratchet.
It is clear now that Daisy's killer was Ratchet, also known as Cassetti and Michael Clark and how many other names. But of course, many of you have known this for a long time. It is obvious that the 12 stab wounds are not a random number. Dr. Constantine's analysis revealed that some stab wounds appeared to have been caused by a right-handed attacker. Others indicated the knife wielder was left-handed.
هذه العجوز هي الوحيدة left-handed.
Deep. More than one fatal. Yet others were not much more than mere scratches. What can explain these discrepancies? This leads us to an obvious conclusion. They are symbolic.
What do the 12 stabs symbolize? جوري إن يا عمر ديزي أو يمكن عمر ديزي.
Come now, Poirot. Daisy was 3 years old.
أوه صح طفلة. إلا هيئة المحلفين يمكن.
12 stabs. 12! the same number as a trial jury in the United States. But
لأن عددهم 12
12 members
اللي في المحكمة.
death, but 12 executioners as well. This self-appointed jury had meticulously planned for everything except
Snow.
snow. The avalanche that stopped us, as well as the presence of not one but 2 detectives on the train. They had to improvise, to hastily add clues and false leads. The time on Ratchet's broken watch was deliberately set to conceal the true time of the crime. The vial of vaping liquid incriminated Captain Arbuthnot. However, he had a solid alibi confirmed by Monsieur McQueen. Impossible then to suspect him. The conductor's jacket, found in Detective Locke's suitcase, was put there only to cast suspicion upon her. This woman in a red kimono does not exist. I don't know which of the passengers it was. It does not really matter. It was just a performance, a charade to introduce another possible culprit to muddy the water. All these false leads were intended for me. But I am Poirot. I understood the truth. We have a train full of suspects. It's time to identify who the real culprits are. Let's start with Detective Locke.
والله ما أتوقع.
Unfortunately, the fact that she is a police detective does not prove that she is innocent. The fact that she was not seen throughout the evening preceding the murder does not make her innocent. On the contrary,
She was drugged.
planting the conductor's jacket in her suitcase was an attempt to implicate Detective Locke, but she couldn't fake her drugged condition. Dr. Constantine can testify that the drugged tea incapacitated her for hours, and she had 2 relapses. Let us move on to Monsieur McQueen. When I told him about Cassetti, he looked very surprised that I managed to make the connection between him and the Armstrong case. He told me, "But I thought we had..." I think he meant... You thought you didn't leave any real clues linking the murder to the Armstrong kidnapping. Moreover, you insisted that Ratchet did not speak French when you knew I had heard a voice calling out in French that was supposed to be Ratchet.
أتوقع yes.
You took some pleasure in leaving me false clues, I think. It was quite annoying. But you told me yourself that your father was the district attorney who handled the Armstrong case.
The case haunted my father. At first, he believed Suzanne Moreau had helped her boyfriend, Noah, to kidnap Daisy, even though there were questions that went unanswered, and a young policewoman refused to let it go, continuing to find discrepancies, but never enough to reopen the official investigation.
That policewoman sits there. Her name is Joanna Locke.
Then tell him. Tell him how in the end my father believed you, how he resigned a job that he loved, racked with guilt that he may have let that monster go free. He died young, broken, His faith in justice broken. That's what Ratchet did to him.
Thank you for your honesty, Monsieur McQueen. Your father is one more victim of the man who called himself Ratchet. Now, I will turn to Ratchet's valet, Monsieur Masterman.
شكله
I suspect that Ratchet was not a kindly employer. But that's not a good enough reason to kill him. Ratchet sensed danger close to him and naturally wanted to stay awake. You gave him sleeping pills without his knowledge. Once he was sound asleep, you could do what you had to do in peace.
Sir, I'll tell you the truth. I was Colonel Armstrong's adjutant in the war, sir, and afterwards, I was his valet in New York. I'm afraid I concealed the fact this morning. It was very wrong of me, sir, but I knew how suspicious it would look.
Is that all you have to say?
That's all, sir.
Now, to leave no suspicious stone unturned, let us move on to Monsieur Book.
What? Me? A suspicious stone?
توقع كلهم طعنوا.
Come now, Poirot. Book will have a heart attack if you're not careful.
Oh no. Director of company.
His lofty position as director does not clear him of suspicion.
مو لازم أقول لك المنصب يعني.
Come in all shapes and sizes.
يدل إنه found me a room in the train.
Book, my friend, of course you are not guilty. You did everything you could to get me on this train. What madness would cause you to ensure, and I speak with all modesty, that the best detective in the world could be present to witness your crime?
But doesn't our friendship count as well?
Most assuredly, but a murderer can wear all sorts of masks, including friendship. Let us consider our ever-efficient wagon-lit conductor, Pierre Michel.
هذا أتوقع دوافع قوية إنه يطعنه. فادرف.
No, that is his motive.
والله أشوفها دافع قوي إن أبوه المربي هو تسبب بشكل غير مباشر بموته.
Your admission that you drugged Detective Locke immediately incriminates you. But the murder could not have been possible without your very capable assistance. Your knowledge of train procedures made the murder possible, and your position in the corridor of the train allowed you to be the perfect alibi for several passengers. And your motive? Suzanne Moreau, Daisy Armstrong's poor nanny, who was wrongly accused and committed suicide, was your daughter.
C'est un foiré. He got what he deserved. My poor daughter has finally been avenged. My Suzanne. My child.
Let's move on
الكل كاره
Hardman.
هذا المقتول.
3 detectives on this train.
بس وش الشيء المميز في اللعبة ان الضحية عادة يكون يعني مظلوم، بس هذا الشخص المقتول واحد كلب ابن كلب. شوف عدد الناس اللي مادينهم. اوكي ستوب. إيه هذا عنده دوافع. مستر ميشيل pretends.
He lied about his profession, but he was hired by Ratchet. Why would he kill the man he was hired to protect?
He is a detective.
Monsieur Hardman, I think you are a real detective, but you were never hired by Ratchet. Your alibi was that you were watching the corridor to protect Ratchet, which, of course, you never did. You protected Pierre Michel. However, We just saw that his alibi doesn't hold up, so neither does yours.
I don't know about the conductor.
Being Suzanne's fiancé, you had a substantial motive to punish Ratchet. You used your detective skills, just as Detective Locke did, to hunt him down and finally avenge the death of your beloved.
That's right, Mr. Poirot. I do have some detective skills.
I never doubted it. Within. The death of Daisy, then Sonia Armstrong, who died in childbirth, and finally Suzanne and John Armstrong.
So much misfortune in that poor family. The death of this criminal is only justice.
Let us move on to Countess Andreni. I was impressed by the earnestness of her husband when he swore to me solemnly on his honor that his wife never left her compartment that night. Should I believe it?
والله هذه عندها دوافع.
Even if it seems logical, it's more complicated than that. I believe Countess Andreni.
هذه لا زين انه يعلم. What clears Countess? She is Sonia Armstrong's sister, morally incapable of stabbing. Too weak to stab.
Countess Andreni is young and fit, physically quite capable of stabbing Ratchet. The problem must be somewhere else. Countess Andreni, being Sonia Armstrong's sister, you had every reason in the world to want to avenge her. But you were incapable of stabbing someone, even after what he had done to you and your family. The night of the crime, you simply took a sleeping pill. I appreciate the irony that nearby, Detective Locke was also in a drugged sleep. When you awoke, you thought the nightmare was over.
Rudolph?
Hush, my love. Hush.
Excellent transition. I was coming to you, Count Andreni.
اوكي هذا وقع نو.
No, Poirot, you're dreaming. Wake up.
طيب بس هذا وش دوافع؟ He didn't like his face, he replaced.
12 people, a jury. This was very important to all of you. If Countess Andreni did not stab Ratchet, someone had to take her place. And you, Count, the beloved husband. I've seen how fiercely you love and protect your wife.
Enough! I would do anything for Helena. Anything. Even that.
Yes, even that. Let's move on to Monsieur Foscarelli.
هذا السواق ده. Italian athlete.
Detective Locke found out that you were the Armstrong chauffeur. That you planned to travel on the same train at the same time as Ratchet. That is what made her decide to obtain a ticket as well. Unfortunately, she could not prevent the murder. Have you lost your tongue, Mr. Foscarelli?
Oh, Daisy. She was the delight of the house. Tonio, she called me. And she would sit in the car and pretend to drive me.
And you, Mademoiselle Olson, a champion for the immigrants, a worthy calling.
هذا أتوقع ما لها علاقة.
I do not think that's the...
والله شكلهم كلهم.
Admittedly, she lied to me about Mademoiselle Debenham's schedule. But one lie does not convict her. Of course, she is reserved.
لا أبغى أختار الثالثة.
Not wish to draw attention to herself. That can be considered admirable. It certainly isn't enough to charge her. Mademoiselle Olson, you supported Madame Hubbard's story about her connecting door latch, a story that I later demonstrated to be impossible. So, you deliberately lied to me, and you also lied about Mademoiselle Debenham's whereabouts.
Enough! I can't take this anymore! I know what you want from me, Mr. Poirot. Very well. Here it is. She was my little Daisy, my angel, so patient. When I patched a scrape or took her temperature, that was my job. But she was so much more to me. She was a shining light in an ever-darkening world. I've tried to honor her by caring for children who have lost everything.
Thank you, Mademoiselle Olson. You too shed light on your part in this mystery.
Nurse.
You were Daisy Armstrong's nurse. I will ask you no more questions. It is enough that you have admitted what I know to be the truth, and I understand. Let's move on. Dr. Constantine.
You suspect me? I know none of these people. I didn't know Ratchet either, and I've taken a solemn oath to help people, not murder them.
صحيح هذا ما له علاقة. اوكي ما طعنه صح. What is that? Here's a book testimony. He's a doctor. His assistants.
Dr. Constantine was certainly helpful to my...
اوكي مش دليل. يعني انت اذا واحد هو طعن وش دوافعه، واذا ما طعن وش يعني يبرئه او يعفيه. He's a doctor. حتى box testimony.
You are one of the few people in this room not to have any connection with the Armstrong case. Moreover, your alibi is confirmed by Monsieur Bouc, whom I would trust with my life.
That is very kindly said, my friend.
We now come to Mademoiselle Debenham and Captain Arbuthnot, whose relationship was not in doubt from the moment I inspected your room at the hotel.
You have a bloody nerve.
Indeed, I do.
We're getting married.
Congratulations. But I would rather talk about your relationship to John Armstrong.
وش علاقته بأرمسترونغ؟ لا مش كوك، يمكن برادر. جاردنر سولجرز، يمكن برادر.
I do not think that's the right answer.
Cousin?
I must admit I'm not right this time.
Secretary?
Think, Poirot. That is not a good answer.
لا الاثنين كانوا سولجر، زملاء يعني.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot. Captain Arbuthnot, you served in the army with John Armstrong. What I don't understand is why a man your age is still a captain. One might expect you to be a colonel as well.
Ever fought in a war, Poirot?
It was war that first brought me to England.
Then you know what it's like. There's a shattering sound, and death, and mistakes, acting on intelligence that proved to be wrong. I sent a patrol to their death. Good men, brave men, wasted. John testified on my behalf at a court-martial. I'm not a colonel. I don't deserve to be, you bloody fool. But I'm also not in prison. John remained my best friend until there.
اوكي كان زميله وصديقه وساعده هو ارتكب خطأ في الجيش.
Calm down.
وحاكموه بس جون شهد له.
What you see in me, I don't understand.
Oh, Archie, I see in you what John saw.
Miss Debenham, I'm sorry.
My turn, is it?
I'm afraid so. And you have caused me quite a puzzlement. Your connection with the Armstrong family was not obvious. Then I remembered the job you currently hold.
هذه وش شغلتها؟ تيتشر؟ كانها تيتشر. أيوة تيتشر. تبغاك تشوف تتذكر من بداية اللعبة وش قالها.
Cells did not let me down. You were the teacher of
هيلينا أوردي مدرسة من هذه ديزي.
No, she was the teacher of
Helena
Andrény. You were the teacher of Helena Andrény, whose maiden name was Helena Goldenberg before she married Count Andrény.
Yes, absolutely. Why lie to you? She was an excellent student.
Captain Arbuthnot.
أتوقع ستاب مو طايقة أصلا. He is military Mr. McQueen still.
The fact that he probably killed enemies during the war does not make him a cold-blooded murderer.
في بالكويت صح.
No, his vile
ولا هذه
scene was a deep
شهادة هذاك.
You had one of the strongest
ما أتذكر ذكرها يعني.
to Mr. McQueen, but his testimony melted like a snowflake. There went your alibi. Poof! Unless you have another one.
ما أدري ليش ما يكتبوا الشهادة يعني ما يخلوك تختارها عشان تتذكر وش قاله. هذه عندها دوافع.
Mademoiselle Olsen was the only one who could confirm your alibi. I think you know where you stand.
Very good, Mr. Poirot. Are you satisfied?
I will be soon.
كلهم طعنوا ترى.
Now I must turn to Sonia Armstrong's godmother, Princess.
هذه دليلها اليدها الوحيدة left handed. Left-handed.
Princess Dragomirov, you weren't on my list of suspects at the start, given your social position.
I left my social position in a cold country.
Do you object to being addressed as Princess?
I deny people the opportunity. It makes a good story to tell their friends. It also guarantees a good table in the best restaurants.
Princess, there is also, forgive me, your extreme physical fragility.
It does not stop me when I must be strong.
Indeed. Of more importance, though, is the fact that you're the only left-handed person on the train. And the single blow to ratchet from a left-handed person was very, forgive me, weak. Finally, I'm afraid I know the alibi that you...
الطعنة اللي باليسار ما كانت تديب لأن هي عجوز ما فيها حيل.
I hope you will permit me to say we are much alike.
I am honored. Now it is time to end with Mrs. Hubbard, or should I say
سونيا أرمست لا ليندا
Linda Arden.
اسمها الحقيقي.
Princess Dragomirov hadn't told me about her relationship with this famous actress, I might not have made the connection. But you are a great actress, madame. Your performance as a flighty, self-involved woman was superb. I never would have guessed something entirely different. As for what ties you to the Armstrong family, it is obvious.
طيب ايش اللي يربطها بالعائلة؟ لا صديقة هي اعتقد مدر اوف دايزي sister of miss.
Think, Poirot, that is not a good answer.
Or sister of Sonia.
I do not think that's the right answer.
لا مش mother of Daisy. good mother. good mother الجدة يعني.
No, not good. This is wrong, but I'm never far from the truth.
Sonia mother. Sonia mother جدتها. Okay.
That's the right answer.
يعني
Mrs. Hubbard.
يعني هي جدة دايزي.
The mother of Sonia Armstrong and Mrs. Andreni. Madame Hubbard, you really are a remarkable actress. You put so much effort into your character and into staging the murder. I saw it as a perfect mosaic, each person playing his or her allotted part. So carefully arranged that if suspicion should fall on any one person, the evidence of one or more of the others would clear the accused person and confuse the issue. Everything was meticulously planned. But you hadn't expected that Detective Locke and I would be on this train, and the avalanche would block it on the night of the murder. You had to improvise. But again, improvisation would be another of your skills as an actress. So you came up with the story that the latch on the door that communicated with Ratchet's compartment was hidden by the handbag.
I always fancied myself in comedy parts. That slip about the sponge bag was silly. Shows you should always rehearse properly. You know all about it, Mr. Poirot. You're a very wonderful man, but even you can't quite imagine what it was like. That awful day. I was just crazy with grief. So were the servants. We decided then and there that the sentence of death that Ratchet had escaped had got to be carried out. There were 12 of us, or rather 11. Suzanne's father was over in France, of course. First, we thought we'd draw lots as to who should do it, but in the end we decided on this way. It was the driver, Antonio, who suggested it. Mary worked out all the details later with Hector McQueen. It took a long time to perfect our plan. We first had to track Ratchet down. Hardman managed that in the end. Then we had to try and get Edward and Hector into his employment. Well, we managed that. Then we had a consultation with Suzanne's father. Captain Arbuthnot was very keen on having 12 of us. He seemed to think it made it more orderly. He didn't like the stabbing idea much. But he agreed that it did solve most of our difficulties. Well, Suzanne's father was willing. Suzanne had been his only child. We knew from Hector that Ratchet would be coming back from the east, sooner or later, by the Orient Express. With Pierre Michel actually working on that train, the chance was too good to be missed. My daughter's husband had to know, of course, and he insisted on coming on the train with her. Hector recognized that Ratchet selected the right day for traveling when Michel was...
كل شيء مخطط له.
Then, at the last minute, you came. For the rest of the story, you worked out everything, Mr. Poirot.
كلهم دول مخططين إنهم
Right about
يقتلوه.
all of us. What are you going to do about it? If it must all come out, can't you lay the blame upon me and me only? I would have
والله أول مرة ألعب قضية أو أشاهد قضية القاتل فيها عددهم 12
child's
يقتلوا واحد.
another child who might have been alive and happy now. It was more than that. There had been other children.
الواحد أعطاه طعنة
Daisy.
عن خاطره يعني.
Others in the future. Society had condemned him. We were only carrying out the sentence, but it's unnecessary to bring all these others into it. All these good, faithful souls.
You are a director of the company, Monsieur Bouc. What do you say?
In my opinion, Poirot, the first theory you put forward was the correct one. Decidedly so. I suggest that is the solution we offer to the police. You agree, Doctor?
Certainly, I agree. As regards the medical evidence, I think that I made...
يعني يقترح إن خلنا إحنا ما نقول للشرطة الحقيقة، نحط النظرية الأولى الغلط. عشان لأن هذول مظلومين.
Solution before you. I have the honor to retire from the case.
يعني هم عرفوا ان دول القتلة بس انها العائلة دي مظلومة، العائلة تضررت من هالمجرم هذا. الظاهر انهم ما بيسلموهم، يعني بيعطوهم النظرية الأولى الغلط انه واحد دخل، بس الحقيقة انهم ال 12. هو الباروت قال اتقاعد، يعني ما قرر. بس والله حلوة النهاية والفكرة.
I'm sorry to wake you up in the middle of the night, Poirot, but it couldn't wait. There was a detail that bothered me in my preliminary autopsy of Ratchet's body. I went back to examine the body and I discovered a wound covered by another. The blow I hadn't seen was delivered by a thinner, sharper blade. So there were not 12, but 13 stab wounds.
12 stabs for 12 jurors. It doesn't work with 13 wounds. The symmetry is destroyed.
It can't be one of the culprits who stabbed him twice?
Doctor, a different knife was used. There is only one explanation. Somehow, some way, there is a 13th murderer on this train. We must tell Bouc. The case is not solved.
كيف ما خلصت؟ والله فكرتها خلصت. اكتشف ان في طعنة ثالثة، طعنة 13. والله فكرتها انتهت اللعبة.
Please come in. Ah, Bouc. I see we are moving at last.
Yes. The way was finally cleared while we slept. If all goes well, we will arrive in Venice this evening. The train will be there for several hours for refueling and reprovisioning. What do we do with the 13th murderer? Do you have a lead?
I thought about it. There is one clue that was left aside in my investigation. The diary I found in Ratchet's safe mentioned an appointment in Venice. Someone with the initials A.W. He will never keep the appointment. But there should be enough time. I must try to keep that appointment for him.
Where and when is the meeting with Ratchet? فينيس. يبغى لك تشوف الدايري. كول كايرو تشيك كول دي سي. رايبنج دو فينيس. اوكي الساعة 10. 10. اليوم 17. لا 18 ديسمبر. meeting point. أتوقع هذه.
I'm right again. That happens to me a lot.
Talk to Dr. Constantine.
I don't have time for small talk. How would it look to the police if I asked a suspected murderer for help? I don't have time for small talk.
خلينا نشوف وش غرفة الدكتور عشان 101. اوكي. مش هنا.
How would it look to the police if I asked a suspected murderer for help? I don't have time for small talk.
شوف خلاص القضية بتنتهي يوم اكتشف إن في طعنة زايدة. قال يعني تحليلنا لازم 12.
In peace.
رجع. شوف كيف الطعنة تفرق.
I don't have time for small talk.
هو يقول ما شافها من أول لأنها كانت يعني على طعنة ثانية. ساعات ما أدري كيف هذا هو الدكتور كيف عرف إنه.
Doctor, a moment. Have you made arrangements for Ratchet's body?
Yes, it will be collected by the Italian authorities when we reach Venice. The autopsy will be performed there. However, there is something odd.
Oh?
Since the train is French, jurisdiction must be shared. When I told them you were already on the scene, they have both agreed to support your investigation until we reach Paris. Ratchet's compartment will be sealed until we arrive there. All of those who conspired to kill Ratchet are to be confined to the train until then as well.
So, thanks to you, I am the rope in a tug-of-war between two countries.
Oh, but I thought you would want to be in charge. And isn't it odd we continue on our journey with a trainload of people that police consider potential murderers?
Calm yourself, Doctor. It is not the first time I find myself in the middle. And to be honest, I welcome the chance to see this case through. It is fast becoming one of the most challenging of my career.
تختار واحد أروح معاك. I have to find someone who can help me with investigating Venice. ما أدري والله أشوف يلا.
So, my dear book, how does our journey progress?
We are well on our way to Venice. All of our passengers are locked in their rooms by order of the authorities. I watch them when they want to stretch their legs, like the captain there behind you.
I see that you have the situation well in hand. Would you be able to accompany me to Venice to follow a lead?
I'm honored you asked me, my friend. I would have loved to help you. But I have to manage the situation here. I must make sure no one gets off the train in Venice and that Ratchet's body is transferred.
اوكي ما رضى. شوف الدكتور.
Doctor, a question. Could you assist my investigation in Venice?
I can't. I'm afraid.
أتوقع هو بس شخص واحد وافق.
Italian police take possession of it. I've been asked, commanded really, to help with the autopsy because of my earlier examination.
يمكن يكون هذا.
I'm not going to ask a murderer to help me catch himself.
لا ما يلا. الله صادق. هذا من ضمن 12 عادي صح.
Mademoiselle Locke, you are clearly an excellent police officer. Could you...
والله توقعت جت في بالي أول واحدة.
For an investigation into Ratchet's activities, there is much we still need to know.
Well, yes, it would be an honor to work with you. And I'm glad you trust me. What do you have in mind?
There was a notation in Ratchet's appointment book. He had an appointment.
With who?
There were only the initials A.W. They were to meet at 10 o'clock at the Fontana dei Conigli. I want to know who Ratchet was meeting and why.
But you've already discovered the 12 conspirators. Why is this meeting important?
Unfortunately, the case is not complete. Dr. Constantine has discovered the presence of a 13th stab wound.
One of them could have stabbed him twice.
The wound was made with another, finer blade. Why would one of them have used 2 knives? Did they want to confess they killed him more than the others? And if so, why bother to deny it when they have already confessed? No, it makes no sense. And I do not close a case until all questions have been answered. You, of all people, must understand this.
You're right. I do understand. I'll help you.
Thank you. Together, we will uncover the truth. We will arrive in a few hours. Take the opportunity to rest.
I slept well last night. No more effects of the drug.
Excellent. Then be prepared when we reach Venice. We have another mystery to solve.
Agatha Christie was inspired by real events to write more than 2019 for 5 days in the snow near the... يعني حادثة ان القطار علق هذه حقيقية وألهم الكاتب انها تستخدمها. المسافرين يعني استغلوا هالوقت يصيدوا ديابة.
This is the 3rd embarking dock, and no gondoliers available at all. With Carnival, you can't find a gondolier to cross that damn canal. They're all booked. The worst thing is that the fountain is just across this canal. We're almost there.
هو طبعا مو متوقع انه بينقتل، فكان مواعد احد لما يوصلوا هالمكان. ظاهر انها محطة من محطات القطار.
I see a gondolier just over there.
خلني أوقف هنا وأكمل فيما بعد. شكلها مطولة، ما أدري إذا يعني الجاي صغير أخلص اللعبة، بس شكله أتوقع أنه في شيء كبير يعني. أو في مهمة طويلة شوي، على الأقل يمكن نص ساعة، فخليها للفيديو الجاي. من المقطع عجبكم، نشوفكم إن شاء الله على خير وفي أمان الله.